Hello, everyone, and welcome to another podcast episode of the Gamehut. Thank you very much for tuning in. And if this is your first time in here, well, you went a little too deep into your recommendations. And nevertheless, I am Big Rex 97, and
Vivek.
without further ado, let's begin with a quick recap on the latest gaming news. Okay, let's begin with a big one. Early this week, Nintendo released a trailer announcing that the sequel for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will get delayed again to mid 2023. They said it must be delayed again to assure the maximum quality on the game. Of course, this didn't came with some backlashes because the next day, Nintendo's market stocks went down. Apparently, investors were not happy about the news.
Oh no, that sounds totally awful. But Vic, I'm not really much of a Nintendo fan, so I can't really speak about it that much. But what are your opinions about it?
Well, it's always good when a game got delayed because this, like they say, ensures the quality of the game that they are working on. They want to polish every little detail, and it's appreciated. But I mean, it's been what, like 2 years since they announced the sequel, and now it got delayed again. I mean, I understand all the people that are angry with this decision, but for me it's okay. We can wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, makes sense, and I respect that opinion, honestly.
Yes. Okay, so continuing with some Nintendo related news, but in a totally different sector, Nintendo's original headquarters are now a hotel that maintains the original look and have pieces of the original artwork for some of the first Nintendo's games, such as Super Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and many more.
Oh, nice. That's pretty nice. Obviously, I said that I'm not much of a Nintendo guy, but I remember as a kid playing classic games like Metroid or Super Mario. So it actually kind of make me want to play. For example, Mario. It's one of the games I used to enjoy a lot when I was like what 6, 5. So revisiting it would be really nice.
Yeah, I always tend to revisit those kind of old games from time to time, just to play them again and refeel that emotion.
Yeah. I'm getting nostalgia right now, but yeah.
Yes, okay, and now changing some gears on the Xbox department. While Halo Infinite has been positively received by many, there's not denial that the multiplayer experience needs, I don't know, like some new content. And because of this, 343 community director Brian Harrod took to Reddit to speak to Halo Infinite fans and let them know that the team is certainly not happy with um, being unable to meet the players and community expectation. However, he also assures that the meaningful content is on the way, and it's just a matter of time. And with every season that begins like 2 months and something like that, and the new one beginning on May 3rd, we hope that that meaningful content doesn't take too much to arrive.
Honestly, yeah, I can speak by experience. Uh, nowadays, I'm not really much of a Halo guy, but back in elementary school, I used to play this a lot with friends. They were really into Halo. They explained me everything. So maybe, obviously, they destroyed me in multiplayer, but it was really fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but so when Halo Infinite came out, some of them actually reached to me and asked me, "Hey, let's go back to play some Halo. Like, let's relive some memories from when we were like way younger." And while it was nice and fun and amazing, I guess in a way, I could definitely really notice the lack of content that the game had. So honestly, I hope they can add tons of content soon before people like stop caring about the game at all.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the main like concerning points with modern gaming, that these kind of games that need a new content every so and on, they really need to put something that is meaningful because if not, the players will like abandon the game and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. And well, finally, Final Fantasy 14. 6.1 patch will be released on April 12th, and Square Enix has released a new trailer alongside some patch notes dealing with the coming adventure. This new adventure is titled Newfound Adventures. Patch 6.1 picks up after the finale in Endwalker, while the new patch will include new dungeons and a new 24-player Alliance raid. They will also include some trials and allow players to complete some missions with the help of NPCs.
Oh, uh, honestly, I've seen Final Fantasy from far for a long time, but no, I wanna ask you: Are you really into Final Fantasy? Like, what's the thing you enjoy the most, or what are you excited about for the new patch?
Yeah, well, I haven't played it, Final Fantasy 14. I am a Final Fantasy guy, most because it is like an RPG. It's something, and I will want to talk later. But yeah, Final Fantasy 14, I have never played it. It's just like this game came out like 10 years ago, and they're still releasing content, and this really amazed me.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's been a while. As long as they keep updating their games, everyone is happy, right?
Yeah, that's what Halo Infinite needs. I mean, 10 years in since the game came out, and it's still relevant.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, that's nice to hear, but that's not all big. I also have some different news. Like,
Oh, tell
let's
me.
talk about VRs. You know, the Battle Royale genre where 100 people drop into an island and only one comes out alive. Yeah, actually, like the trend in shooters since 2018, I think. Uh, okay, first, let's talk about the biggest one, Fortnite. I'm pretty sure everyone by now has heard about it, and they released a new season like 2 weeks ago.
Oh
And
yeah,
the
I
biggest
heard
thing,
about that.
oh yeah, Fortnite. Yeah, it's like I remember people doing the flossing in public back like 3 years ago,
And
4 years
shaming
ago.
themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as they're having fun, like I don't judge anyone. So, okay, let me continue.
Yes.
Um, I said we can all remember a time when we were playing Fortnite, trying to shoot at someone, and that person proceeded to build like a whole skyscraper in less than a second. Okay, so they just removed that. They with the new season they added a game mode specific for no building,
Oh, they
and
did.
yeah, they actually did, and it made tons of content creators that abandoned the game years ago or months ago to come back to the game, and right now it's this game is back at its peak.
But wasn't building a big element of the game? I mean, I do remember that everyone wants to build something. I never understand it.
It was, but the difference is that back in 2018, people actually like built bases, and
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, like months ago, because obviously time passed, people got better at building, and nowadays, if you try to fight someone, they're gonna build in less than a second a skyscraper, and they're gonna edit it to a different thingy, and you're gonna don't even know what just happened to you.
Yeah, it seems
it's
a little bit unfair.
yeah, is that the skill gap between like good builders and normal players? It's huge. It's way difficult to get into the game.
Yeah, I actually never got into the game. I tried to play it once with some friends because they invited me, but it is like, oh man, I am so bad at this that I just left it.
Yeah. Also, in my experience, like also my friends were like, whenever I asked them, "Hey, you want to play some Fortnite?" They were like, "No, I hate building. I hate tryhards. I won't be able to do nothing." So they wouldn't. But now they kind of came back to the game. And also, like, don't worry. If you're a tryhard, the Sweat, the Demon, whatever it's called nowadays, you can still play with building if you like. Just choose the specific game mode with builds on, and you can. Honestly.
Yeah, that's right. It's like adapting the game for everyone.
Yeah. And but on the other hand, we have Warzone, the popular free-to-play VR made by Activision, Raven Software, and everyone, the successor of Blackout. This one was released back in 2020, at the beginning of quarantine, and
Mm-hmm.
This game just had a huge season to reload update. With it, a new operator, new weapons, new modes, and a huge update to the game mode River Resurgence. And
Wow.
yeah. Because for the first time in years since the map came out to Call of Duty in 2019 with BO4, it received tons of changes. Let's remember that this map was inspired by Alcatraz Island in the United States. But the updates this map received were basically cover
Hmm.
because it was a really open map. So you could easily get beamed across the map or by people camping on roofs and stuff. But with this new cover, like it plays kind of differently now.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Kind of makes me give it a try.
Yeah, honestly, it's still really fun. And also, maybe you guys missed it because it's now April 12th. But back in April 1st, they had an April Fool's update, and where everyone like spawned with all the perks available. So the game was pure chaos. Everyone respawning like every 5 seconds, and it was a huge mess. Even during the final circles, there was still like what 20 people alive, and it was pure chaos.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitch and on streaming on Twitch, and it was like really fun. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I remember I was playing with two of my friends. Like we usually play Warzone during the night. We were like, yeah, let's play for a bit, and after one game, we were like, what just happened? What's going on? It was so interesting, honestly.
Yeah, it caught you unaware.
Exactly, totally. But finally, don't forget that the popular rapper Snoop Dogg will be available to buy on April 19 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. He's gonna be playable in Call of Duty Vanguard and Call of Duty Warzone if you buy it.
Oh, amazing! This is what I just need. A rapper shooting everybody.
Exactly, honest. But last but not least, let's remember that the Overwatch 2 closed beta is coming out this week. If you're one of the lucky few that got access, you'll be able to try new heroes, new maps, new modes, and everything. Make sure to let us know what you think about the changes Overwatch is receiving. Let's remember that instead of a 6v6 game mode, it's gonna be now just 5v5. And by the way, next week, the Overwatch League is coming back. This season's teams will be moving to Overwatch 2. We can expect significant changes to the meta. And honestly, personally, I can't wait to see how the pros use all these new mechanics.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I actually, Overwatch is one of the fewest like VRs that I played, and I really enjoy it. All the mechanics and the different heroes. It really feels fresh to play with all of them because they do something totally different one from another. So yeah, I'm really excited about this Overwatch 2. So I am keen to play it when it came out.
Yeah, you should. Honestly, you should. I was a really huge Overwatch guy back in 2016, 17, and it's really fun. It's honestly so fun.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so let's continue.
Yes, well, in that topic, that last new, like I told you about, I wasn't like a Final Fantasy 14 guy that I didn't play it, but I do play RPGs, and that's the thing that I want to talk about with you today. Um, we all have played at least one RPG in our life. Even if you don't know it, probably you have played one of those. And that's because nowadays the genre has diversified a lot. But I have a question for all of you that are hearing us. What is exactly an RPG and how it became one of gaming main genres? So, if you know, please let us know. We will be reading your answers next week. But to continue on, well, basically, an RPG is where the player takes the place of a fictional character in a fictional world, and where they take control of all their actions, and normally, the outcome of the adventure is heavily affected by these decisions. But something that you may not know is that the concept and idea of an RPG actually takes place out of the video game world, and dates back to the tabletop games, and the first one was the famous Dungeons and Dragons, published in 1974. You may already have listened about this because if you watch Stranger Things, this is like the main, I don't know, like gimmick of the characters that they like to play Dungeons and Dragons, and actually the Demogorgon is a enemy from Dungeons and Dragons. Have
Oh
you
yeah,
heard it?
I've heard a lot about Dungeons and Dragons, and I've actually watched people play this. I know it's really old, but it looks really fun to play. Honestly,
Yes, I mean it is really old. Nah, this year it will be like what 48 years old probably.
I think so. No, 40, like 60, 50, something like that. Like oh,
Yeah, it's really old, but it is still relevant. There are a lot of people that play Dungeons and Dragons. But this is okay. Continuing with this story, that this didn't stick like this for too long. Just a year after that, some students in a university created an unofficial version of the game that runs on the school's computers. Let's remember that in 1974, computers like weren't available for everybody, but even though these students created and it run on the school computer, and this changed forever the gaming industry. That I mean, it was only like a beginning, and it has like a major strike. Um, for example, this create basically like two intertwined groups: the single player games using RPG style mechanics, and the multiplayer games incorporated social interaction that was very present in the tabletop games, like the Dungeons and Dragons. Eh,
yeah.
and now that we know what an RPG is, let's get to the next part. Because RPG already have proven that they were really engaging and fun, and that the same thing happened with their digital counterparts. Now that the difference is that you don't need to play it like in physically, you don't need to buy it. Well, nowadays you need to buy it, but the first game, like because it was like an unofficial copy, you can download it illegally,
Okay.
and you have the benefit of playing it in your computer. But much like their tabletop cousins, the player took control of a part or a party of different characters with the promise of saving some magical world. And because of the format that limited the power of the computers, the original elements of the game had to be modified. And for many years, those modifications were the norm in the genre. For example, an RPG is consistent of an storytelling that almost in every classic RPG is, oh, there is some evil wizard doing some evil shenanigans. Let's stop it using magic or friendship. I don't know, something
Yeah,
like that.
I get you. Like, I know about these like story and setting because I've never really been that much of an RPG guy, but obviously I played one that I'm really fun to, and this one is Fallout. In this one, you basically have your own setting. It's basically a post-apocalyptic world after a nuclear war,
Uh huh.
and you have like a main objective. But aside from it, like there's a lot of things you can discover and find and learn about like the pre-war world and different factions and people, and it's tons of fun because it's a big open world where you can almost be yourself. Like you can play as how you want, and exactly you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and that's something like really important for this game is that you play where like ever you want. So you could be even kind of a bad guy or a good guy depending on your decisions. And what you told me about exploration, about the different places you can go and the different things you can discover, that's another part of RPGs. The same exploration that is really engaging for a lot of players like you and me. And in that exploration, the items come along. There is like a huge variety of items you can collect, you can get, you can upgrade, and some of those. items you can only get by accessing to some secret places on the map.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I can relate to that. Like, mhm,
And well, like I tell before, and like you say, the characters are another key element of these games. So they are usually characters that have some kind of a development the more you advance in the story, and on top of that, they have unique abilities. So normally, whenever you play, it will feel different one from another. And the
exactly.
last part of RPGs that is kind of really into it and make it really different are the battles, because in this aspect they got expanded a lot from their tabletop counterparts. I mean, while in this you throw some dice and you make some math making, and that's how you beat like the enemy. In the game they have the opportunity to see more about the character, to see more environments and backgrounds and animations. And with the addition that you don't need to make the math, it is already programmed in the game.
Exactly.
So all these elements really make an engaging adventure and experience for a lot of players around the world, and that's why it is so popular. And just to finish off and warp up, like I mentioned before, you may have already played an RPG, and that's because these gaming elements allow a variety of combinations to give a different experience. Of course, there is like the classic Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem, and even though it's kind of debatable, but for me, the most famous one is Pokemon. I mean, it was like a huge hit in the 90s, come back again a few years ago with Pokemon Go, and everyone now it's again with Pokemon, and that's an RPG. But also there are like more modern ones like Xenoblade Chronicles and even the successful multi-platform game that came out in 2019, Genshin Impact. And if you don't know, the first Legends of Zelda are considered RPG. And I mean, who haven't played the first two Legends of Zelda?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, and as I was like thinking right now, the biggest thing about RPGs compared to, let's imagine compare an FPS shooter campaign to an RPG. The FPS one, it's just gonna be like what, linear. It's basically gonna be, hey, let's go here, kill the bad guy, mission complete. And in comparison, the RPG, it's okay, let's go kill this bad guy, but in the way there you can find this person who needs help doing this, but then you're gonna meet this different person who needs help with this, but these two are arguing and now you need to help them, and then you go find this thing, but in the meantime you just level up something and you have new abilities and you can use this search mechanic to I don't know, take advantage of the new ability you just got and stuff like that. And going from point A to point B, the original one, it's gonna take hours, tons of hours. So you're gonna be having so much fun while playing the game. Honestly,
Yeah, that's something that you say that you summarize like really important, and it's even like a meme nowadays. Because the main story is like I told you, it's like the bad guy trying to destroy the world, but in the meantime, you get to collect flowers for a random NPC that wants to give a present to his digital wife. So why not take time? I mean, the world instructions can wait. I need to give you some flowers.
exactly. Yeah, it's a huge meme, but honestly, RPGs are really fun to play.
Yeah, I know. I personally love RPGs, and I have played a lot of them, like really different settings and abilities and switches of the original formula. But tell us, have you played an RPG? Are you a fan, or you don't like them at all? We will be reading your answers next week. And I think that's all for today. Do you have something else to say?
I think honestly, thanks again for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
That's right. So remember, I am Big Rex 97.
And I'm Vivek.
See you next time on the Game Hut.
See you.